So today we were out filming this, and the audio didn't record. I guess the setting on the camera didn't work out, so we're gonna wing it here in Casa and go over some of the equipment for grub fishing. Um, and then after this video, we're gonna do a little bit of application. I'll be on the water, and we'll see if we can catch some fish on some of this stuff. First, we'll go over some of the grubs. You got a couple different styles here and sizes. You can get a grub from anywhere from an inch to 5, 6 inches, but we're going to primarily focus on what the most popular ones are, which are usually your 3 to 5 inches. I fish primarily 3, 4, and maybe 5 inch in a double tail and spider grub. One of the most common one is going to be your single tail grub here. This is Bass Pro Shops, which they make an excellent grub and good colors. This is a 4-inch. Here's another 4-inch by Kalen's, which you see there's a difference there in the body size. But I fish these a lot too, Kalen's grubs. I like this, especially these ones, this size. I like this, split shot it. Sometimes even fish it weightless. That's a technique that's kind of catching on in some parts of the West. There's also a double tail version of this grub, which looks like this. This is a Yamamoto spider grub actually, but a double tail is just you just take this little skirt off. I just don't have one at the moment. But I fish a lot of these skirted grubs. It used to be really popular in the past, and I still do, especially when there's on a really solid crawfish biter, and there's a lot of people throwing jigs. I like to try to do things a little differently, so I'll go with this spider grub. We got this Gary Yamamoto grub right there, and then you also have Chompers. A couple other companies that make these, but these are the big ones. You can find them in most tackle stores. We'll go over some of the colors too. So if you notice, like the first one I came with, one of the things you always want is a crawfish pattern. And if you want to keep it simple, like myself, I like to save some money. I don't have enough money to have every color in the world, so I like to keep it simple. This is an oxblood color. It also, you can get a pumpkin, which is a very popular color as well. But the oxblood has a little purplish brown tinge to it. Another good color that seems to work all over the place is bluegill, and Kalen's makes a really good bluegill color. It's a smoke with a blue and gold, and also black flake within it. For some reason, this color just works. It's a great color. A mainstay that every fisherman needs, and most fishermen have this in a number of other plastics, is your watermelon. There's a Chompers watermelon with red flake and black that can imitate a lot of things. In the summertime and in the winter, let's grab one of these guys. When the fish aren't really necessarily on a crawfish biter, you get a lot of fish chasing bait, fall or whatnot. This grub right here is a shad color. Sometimes in some bodies of water you can get away with a white or a pearl. This is more of a translucent. They call it ghost shad. This is made by Bass Pro Shops. Excellent color. I like to fish this when there's a lot of guys I know are throwing like Kitex or whatnot, and I like to go try a little something different. So I throw this. Another color, I don't know why it works, but there's some companies like Kalen's used to make one, and we still have like thousands of these grubs in a color called the shrimp. This is actually champagne. It's the Gary Yamamoto champagne. But there's also colors like a shrimp color. I don't know why, but sometimes that is a killer color in certain bodies of water at certain times of the year. When moving on, there's a number of ways you can fish these things. You can texture them, split shot them, fish them weightless. Primarily what I'm going to go over is some of the jig heads and whatnot that is more standard. If I can get this one without hooking it. Here's your standard ball head jig. This is a Gamakatsu. You see the double collar there. Round ball head. With a few exceptions. Usually I have a number of these in a 3/16, eighth, and a 1/4 ounce, and maybe a 3/8 ounce. about 75% of my fishing is going to be done with the 1/4 ounce, maybe a 3/16. The other, I might go to different sizes depending on what's going on. But I really like the ball head jig, and when you're grub fishing, you need a lot of jig heads. I'll tell you that, because if you're doing it right, typically you're going to get snagged a lot. I mean, grub fishing is not necessarily cover style technique. You're structure fishing. You're fishing a lot of rocks and drop offs and whatnot, but you do get snagged up. So it's important to have a bunch of these in your boat at any given time. The other way, and we use this primarily on our spider jigs or double tail jigs, is football head jig. And what I'm doing, when I'm using my football head jig, I'm 3/8 ounce and above, long shank hook with the collar as well. And I like the colored jig heads, even though it nicks off, but I like to match my colors up a little bit. We'll move right on to the rod. When it comes to the single tail grubs and using the ball head jigs or whatnot, I run spinning gear. Here you can kind of see this. This is a 6/8 medium with an extra fast tip with a 3000 series reel. I got it with 6-pound Suffix braid with about an 8-foot, 7-pound Sunline fluorocarbon leader. I mean, I'll fish anywhere 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon, but I like that braid backing. Gives you a lot of sensitivity, less stretch, and then you don't, and it's also a really good cost saver because you don't have to keep you can use liters of fluorocarbon. You can save a lot of money. When we get to our spider jigs, I throw it on casting gear primarily, and here's I have to do this in my house. It's a little more difficult. But this is a 6/8 medium power extra fast tip bait casting rod. I got it with 12-pound fluoro, and I fish that as fluorocarbon as well. I like the properties of fluorocarbon. It's less stretch, doesn't absorb water as much as like monofilament or whatnot, but it's still invisible to a certain extent. So 12-pound, I use Sunline, but you can use various brands obviously. When you get to applying these techniques, what we're going to do in the next video is actually go out and to a lake and a rocky lake and fish these. And in the time you're going to see me, it's going to be winterish conditions, so we're probably going to be using a lot of spinning gear, single tail grubs, and our shad colors. But what we look for when we're out there is rocky points, gravelly points, drop-offs, cliffs, places where crawfish and shad live. This is not like a heavy cover style technique where you're going to be out there and throwing it in the weeds or whatnot, which you can. Like I said, one of the techniques, weightless, you can throw. I've done this a lot, is throwing it on vegetation. But for the most part, you're not doing that. You're throwing it at rocks, points, whatnot, and it's an excellent way to video game fish as well. Instead of using a drop shot, this is actually one of the better ways. I can easily pick it up on my sonar and it drops straight down. And I don't have to mess around with unwrapping my dropper weight, and it's a lot easier to get in the game. But this technique is so effective just in general when it comes to not just catching bass, especially smallmouth and spotted bass, and it's good for largemouth as well. But if you're in a lake where, like one of my home bodies, Lake Powell, where there's walleye, there could be trout, there's crappie, there's bluegill, there's all kinds of these other fish. A grub is just an excellent way to just catch fish or just get somebody new into the game, catching fish, getting bites. You get a lot of bites. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you here. If you thought this was valuable information, I'd like you to like this video, subscribe, check out the next video that's coming up, because I'll be on the water and hopefully we'll be slaying some fish. And then look for more videos that are coming out, instructional videos that I'm going to be putting out, and then just some general fishing stuff. Anyway, catch you later.